Hello everyone, this is Fantasy-esque and welcome back to Vampire Clan in ClanGen, the Warrior Cats clan generator game. In the last episode, we had a mangled death. We also had a battle with vampire hunters that resulted in another severe injury, a mangled leg. And then we ended off with a very unexpected and unfortunate death of a fledgling. So yeah, 2 deaths in 1 episode, and things, looking a bit rough for our clan at that point. Like, we had gone down quite a few vampires. Everyone was emotionally feeling very down. In this episode, thankfully, we are not starting off with any deaths, guys. It is a new season. It's a warm season. We are now in New Leaf. It is Moon 48, but we have had some very unexpected things happening in the clan, like new mates, and also something which I have never actually seen before happen. So let's go ahead quickly in the leader's den, see what's going on over here. So we have hostilities with all the vampire hunters right now, which makes a whole lot of sense. And then in terms of our events, Vampire Clan does not have enough healthy medicine cats. Cats will be sick/hurt for longer and have a higher chance of dying. We know it's because Twilight Fade is mourning the death of his daughter, his grief-stricken. Glares of unfriendliness and aggression are passed at most patrol interactions between Vampire Clan and Wind Clan. And then our new mates. This has been a long time coming. Blue Jay and Quiet Flight have become mates. Now, these guys, they had a bit of a bubbling romance in the very, very beginning when they were quite young at, the start of Vampire Clan. But very quickly, they seemed to go into different directions. Blue Jay obviously got involved with Burnleaf and started having one-sided feelings for him. And I think as soon as their kittens were born, he pretty much broke it off with her. And then Blue Jay, after moving on, started reciprocating some of the affection that Quiet Flight used to have for her, but then at that time Quiet Flight found an unexpected love story with Hazel Pelt, and she and Hazel Pelt ended up becoming so in love with each other that I don't think Quiet Flight would have ever left him for Blue Jay. And that was a thing, and I know at the time I was very sad that Blue Jay wouldn't have anyone for herself to be happy with, but at the same time I was really kind of vying for Hazel Pelt and Quiet Flight because I loved the way their love story was panning out. Now it seems as though they have kind of come full circle. After the death of Hazel Pelt, I think Quiet Flight has finally been giving in to Blue Jay's feelings, finally seeking comfort probably with Blue Jay. And likewise, Blue Jay has gotten the chance to kind of be around Quiet Flight more without feeling guilty. And that has resulted in them rekindling, I suppose, their romance and now becoming finally mates with each other. It was very long, a very roundabout way, but I suppose they must have been fated for one another. And then the thing that I've never seen before with this series of events, Owlfeather and Pinespec broke up. So we had our first, I think ever, no, this is not the first ever breakup because Blue Jay and Burnleaf broke up, but we had the first breakup in a while, and between Owlfeather and Pinespec, when I read this was so gutted because I was really looking forward to having mint choc chip babies with them, kittens with them, and it seemed as though everything was going fine between the two of the cats, so I couldn't understand why they had broken up. And then immediately after that, we get the notice. This has been a long time coming. Owlfeather and Pinespec have become mates again. So initially they got together because the clan leader, the Grand Master, made a match between them. Now, they at the time I don't think they had become friends or fallen in love or anything the last time we checked, right? Their relationship was improving, but it wasn't anything like that. And they broke up. And then on their own volition, they got back together. I have never seen a couple across any of my ClanGen videos break up and get back together in the same moon. So that happened. And then of course we had the cats mourning the death of Wolfpaw. So Vampire Clan is shocked by Twilight Fade's outbursts of wails and cries at Wolfpaw's vigil. He flees camp to process this shattering loss on his own. Cats come to find him afterwards, offering him the biggest, juiciest pieces of fresh kill, but he refuses it all, staring at the walls of his den in silence. The past moon, Wolfpaw has taken their place in Star Clan. Vampire Clan mourns their loss, and their clanmates will miss the spot they took up in their lives. Moments of their life are shared in stories around the circle of mourners, as those that were closest to them take them to their final resting place. So, I am very, very curious as to the timeline for this, and to work this out, obviously we have to take a look at relationships, but just off the top of my head. Now, this theory might change once we go through relationships. But with Alpha and Pine Spec, because I was wanting to know, like, who out of the two of them broke off the relationship. So I did go to Whisper Blue Jay just to check their relationship. And surprise, surprise, guys, Owlfeather and Pine Spec have fallen in love with each other, and they have the exact same amount of romance. So I couldn't even tell who had initiated the breakup. And then, along with falling in love, like, obviously they've become friends with each other as well. They've got that security, the exact same amount of security with one another. So this was a little bit confusing for me. And in the last episode, I am fairly sure that when we checked, they had no green bars. So this has happened very quickly between the two of them. Now, with that in mind, I think what probably happened, or what led to their breakup, we know in the last episode that Pine Spec, he asked Owlfeather for help catching up his own fledgling, Bloompaw. And that's why Owlfeather kind of let Wolfpaw go on a patrol on her own. And I think Owlfeather, as someone who's emotionally sensitive and maybe sometimes gets overwhelmed processing her own emotions, I think maybe she pushed the blame onto Pine Spec. And she kind of said, I was trying to help you, and that's the reason why my fledgling got left alone. That's the reason why I thought it was okay for my fledgling to maybe stick around camp. Knowing her personality, knowing that she gets into trouble very easily, I was willing to let her go out on her own because I was helping you. You asked for my help. And I think that maybe resulted in probably a disagreement between the two of them, and they probably mutually broke up because of that. It was the death of Wolfpaw was weighing too much on Owlfeather's mind, and I think Pine Spec could see that it was kind of hurting Owlfeather, and that it was going to be very hard to smooth things over between the two of them, and, you know, stay together with that burden in her mind. So they broke up, but then I think very soon after they break up, with the time they probably spent apart, I think Owlfeather and Pine Spec very quickly realized that they had fallen in love with one another, and that they couldn't really be without each other, and that the blame was, it was like a silly thing because it wasn't really each other's fault, right? And I think that Owlfeather and Pine Spec also kind of realized how much they had come to view each other as like a safe space and almost, you know, home. They had begun to see each other as home, and they couldn't justify being stubborn and staying away from each other. So I think they very quickly admitted to themselves, you know, within themselves, their feelings, and got back together. But this time, knowing that they were more than a formal arrangement, that they were in love with one another, and mates and friends. So I think that's probably what happened between the two of them, and makes for a very interesting story, because it's quite unique, very unique from what I've seen across all of the couples that I've had in ClanGen so far. Okay, so Twilight Fade is obviously going to be mourning Iris Freckle is still suffering from her mangled leg, but she seems to have survived the moon, which is a good sign. Master Burnleaf in Quiet Flight, we know, mourning the death of Hazel Pelt. So quite a few things going on over here. Okay, let's check out the Medicine Cat Den. Iris Freckle was given Tansy as treatment for mangled leg. I'm also a little bit worried for Iris Freckle because now that our Nightstalker is in mourning, he might start making a bit more mistakes with her treatment or not paying as much attention. That's going to increase her chance of potentially dying. Okay, let's see the relationships and see if anything comes up in the timeline for the new couples and for, Owlfeather and Pinespeck that contradicts the theory that I had. Blue Jay tries to do something like Bloompaw, but just ends up getting embarrassed. During a patrol, Blue Jay and Pinespeck have a long conversation about their beliefs and agree on many things. Okay, and then at this point in time, Blue Jay and Quiet Flight became mates. Right. Master Burnleaf saved a piece of fresh kill that he knows is Owlfeather's favorite. Master Burnleaf knows that Pinespeck would be saved before him during an emergency. Twilight Fade and Owlfeather share little secrets about themselves. Twilight Fade wants to be closer to Quiet Flight. I think Twilight Fade maybe is getting some comfort from his former fledgling Quiet Flight because at this point in time, they have both lost their mates. So that makes sense. They'd relate to one another. Shivering Star. Grandmaster Shivering Star scolds Quiet Flight for not telling anyone about a piece of crow food in the pile. Grandmaster Shivering Star decides to be the bigger cat and plans to make amends with Blue Jay. Grandmaster Shivering Star told Burnleaf to stop padding after him like a lost kit. Okay. Quiet Flight thinks Blue Jay is really funny. So these two, their feelings kind of blossomed after spending time with one another. And I think actually right now maybe their relationship is more about helping each other mutually heal and finding comfort and a sense of direction with one another. Quiet Flight got a bunch of cats out for morning stretches and they didn't like it. Both Quiet Flight and Fawn Nest enthusiastically congratulate one another or another clanmate on something. After the gathering, Owlfeather notices that Blue Jay is making sure everyone got home. And then Owlfeather and Pinespeck broke up, so it was kind of brewing, but I think it very much had to do with what we said because there's nothing been said here to contradict that. And then, immediately afterwards, they become mates. So I think exactly what we said is probably what happened. Master Burnleaf helped Sunnytail get a thorn out of his paw. So some father-son bonding time. Master Burnleaf asked Pinespeck to cover his mouth while he coughs. So Pinespeck coughed on him out of spite. Iris Freckle and Sunnytail strive to be like one another. Fawn Nest learns that Master Burnleaf told a clanmate one of his secrets. Bloompaw is surprised to hear Grandmaster Shivering Star express an ideal she can agree with. And then, of course, we had Wolfpaw's Vigil. So that's pretty much all there is for the events. Let's wrap up here and continue with the cat list. Okay, let's continue with the cat list. We have a few things to cover over here. So first up, we have loyalties, where there has been a change. Bloompaw has now become a loyalist to Shivering Star, following the death of her sister, and we did see in events that Shivering Star expressed an ideal that Bloompaw could agree with, and I think maybe Shivering Star explained to Bloompaw that they have to hurt the vampire hunters because the vampire hunters hurt them. And Bloompaw, who is compassionate and kind of sensitive to, I think, the hurts of other cats in particular, I think that resonated with her quite a lot. And suddenly, instead of being, just a gentle sister, she kind of saw that sometimes you have to be made of sterner stuff. So there is that. And in terms of the changes in relationships, I noticed a few things for us to cover. So the first one was with Shivering Star. Grandmaster Shivering Star has lost all of his romance with Burnleaf. He had, I think, 1 or 2 bars. And earlier on in events, we saw him tell Burnleaf to stop following him around like a lost kit. So Shivering Star, quite a while back, he was the one who I think started having feelings for Burnleaf because he and Burnleaf started getting along together quite well. They were working wonderfully, and he was, I think, kind of relying on Burnleaf and getting a bit of comfort from Burnleaf after the death of his own children. But then, now I suppose, I don't know, he has gotten to the point where maybe things like romantic relationships, it means nothing to him. You know, it's kind of different from when he was younger. There's no meaning to any of this. He doesn't need that kind of emotional support. So he's become, I feel like, to an extent, detached. So we've seen that. The next thing I noticed was with Blue Jay. So Blue Jay, as we know, has fallen in love with Quiet Flight. And also, I want to go ahead, maybe really quickly, jump to the Whisper to kind of see who has more romance with who, because that would be the cat in my mind who initiated or confessed, right? That would be the cat who kind of confessed and initiated the getting together, the mates becoming mates. So that's what we have with the Blue Jay. Quiet Flight, Quiet Flight, we had something with her. So she obviously also has fallen in love with Blue Jay. So really quickly, I want to jump to the Whisper. Oh wait, I can't. Okay, never mind. I can't compare between the two of them. I can compare like this. So Blue Jay, she has 6 romance bars with Quiet Flight. Quiet Flight very obviously has more. She has 6, 7, 8. She's got 8 and like a little bit of romance with Blue Jay. This might seem odd because Hazel Pelt has very recently passed away, and Blue Jay is supposed to be the one comforting Quiet Flight. Now, I don't know about you guys, but to me this feels a lot like Quiet Flight was so in love with Hazel Pelt that immediately after his death, she is trying, she's been so devastated by his death that she's trying to fill that void with something else that is the same. And the closest friend she had was Blue Jay, and so it kind of made sense to her to suddenly put Blue Jay in the space where Hazel Pelt used to be. And it makes me feel sad for Quiet Flight, because this is not the way her second love should be. But I think that's the way she's dealing with it. Because, Blue Jay, it's been a long time since she broke up with Burnleaf, and she's had the moons to get over that. She's had the moons to then return to Quiet Flight. She's had the moons to become friends with Quiet Flight, but also nurture her feelings. And even now, she has fallen in love, but her love is growing at a slower pace. But for Quiet Flight, it feels way too quick, given the relationship she had with Hazel Pelt and how soon it's been from Hazel Pelt's passing. I hope they're able to figure that out, but I thought that was kind of intriguing. And then with Owlfeather, she had a few things. Owlfeather. So first up, I noticed that Owlfeather has some mixed feelings for Shivering Star. So we know that Shivering Star is her enemy, right? She considers him her enemy. She hates him. But apparently, she has come to also now admire him, feel safe around him, and rely on him quite a bit. So I think he still takes precedence as, her enemy, being enemies, but she has come to see other qualities in him that make her feel less small, make her feel less guilty for supporting him as leader, despite knowing that he is not necessarily the best cat for that. And the other thing I noticed, of course, was her falling in love with Pinespeck. And then finally we had a change with Pinespeck, which was, him falling in love with her. So that is kind of what we have for relationships. We can now jump to Blue Jay and actually have a whispering session between Owlfeather and Pinespeck. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so respect, trust has increased, jealousy and dislike decreased. So obviously they just got together and maybe they've kind of, you know what, I think because they just got together and they realized they've fallen in love and they've already kind of admitted it to one another, I kind of like the idea that the reason why this whispering session had no romance is because the two of them are feeling shy. I think they're feeling shy, like facing each other in their first whispering session after knowing that they're in love with one another. I think they're feeling a little bit bashful. So I think that's what's happening over here. Okay, now that we've finished that, let's see what all the cats are doing for the day. Grandmaster Shivering Star, Soy Two-Leg petting a Lona. Master Burnleaf wonders if Star Clan has given Twilight Fade any prophecies lately. Twilight Fade almost got lost near some two-leg nests. Blue Jay found a wonderful napping spot outside camp. Quiet Flight is watching the breeze blow around the camp. Sunnytail is nervously pacing around the camp. Owlfeather is sparring with some clanmates. Pine Speck is finding Fawn Nest annoying. Okay. Fawn Nest is drinking water from a nearby stream. Ibis Freckle purrs as a cool breeze hits her. I'm glad that she managed to survive, but she still is in a dangerous spot with a mangled leg. Until that heals, she's not out of trouble. Bloompaw stayed the longest at Wolfpaw's vigil. Of course she did. It was her older sister who always used to look out for her. And now it doesn't even matter, like, you know, she's gonna graduate as the Bloom Princess, but I don't know if this title is gonna matter much to her, knowing it was always supposed to be her sister's. And maybe she was getting excited to actually have a proper, you know, rivalry, like a competition with her sister, but that was taken away from her. So her sister never had a rival, and Bloompaw will never have a rival either. Okay, so that's all we have for the cat list. Let's wrap up here and move on to patrols. Okay, we are continuing with patrols. We currently have 71.5 prey. We need 29.5, so we don't have to worry about food. Our Nightstalker is not going to be heading out today. He is not in a state to be able to gather anything. And we are going to have a patrol of 6, so it is going to be a very safe patrol this time around. So Bloompaw with her mentor Pine Speck. And now that Owlfeather doesn't have a fledgling, she is not going to be able to assist with training Bloompaw anymore. You have to have an active fledgling and be an active mentor to participate in these kind of things. So Pine Speck is entirely on his own with Bloompaw. But on this patrol we also have Fawn Nest, Sunnytail, and Grandmaster Shivering Star, so let's see what they get up to. Oh no. The patrol stumbles across a large dog wandering through the middle of the clan's territory. This can be troublesome, but it is a full patrol. We might be okay. Proceed. Bloompaw selflessly throws herself into the fight, and every time the dog tries to grab at her clanmates, she's there with claws, fur puffed out, twice her normal size. With Bloompaw defending them, the patrol drives the dog off, yowling triumphantly. Bloompaw! Oh my goodness, Bloompaw. I think she's been so struck by all of the losses in the clan lately that there is no way she's going to let anyone else be taken away from her. She is fighting tooth and nail to make sure that her clan members stay safe. Oh, Bloompaw. Even though it is heartbreaking that this is the way, like, Wolfpaw dying is the way Bloompaw gets to be princess, I feel like she deserves it because she is kind of working very hard to prove herself. And she's obviously a very talented cat. And honestly, I cannot say whether Wolfpaw getting the title of princess would have been guaranteed. At the pace that I'm seeing Bloompaw kind of get experience and pick things up, she's getting by like really fast, or she's catching up to the things she missed out on very, very fast. So even if Wolfpaw was around, I feel like Bloompaw might have been a very serious rival for his sister. And okay, that is what we managed to get done today. I think it was actually a really good, a really restful sort of moon. And a moon where I think all of the cats are feeling a sense of accomplishment and peace. But okay guys, with that said and done, I am going to leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.